Hello everyone, it is DJ. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing great. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Um, just a little overview of what my channel is about. On my channel, I talk a lot about personal development. I also talk or comment on society, social media, and trends. I also talk about some fashion and lifestyle things as well. So stay tuned on my channel if you like those topics or you're interested in seeing what I have in store for you guys in the future. So, yeah. So today we're going to be talking about what I learned over the past 6 months of journaling almost every day. Now, when I say almost every day, I mean literally almost every day. If I missed a day, I would never miss 2 days in a row journaling. I started back in what is it? December. So kind of around that time, the beginning of December. It is now going to be the 1st of March tomorrow. So it's getting around about 6 months this week. And I just wanted to share my insights with you guys, what I learned about journaling, what techniques I've used, and just how it has helped me in my life. And yeah, I just want to share that value with you guys and maybe help someone out there that is either just getting into journaling or who wants to get into journaling to see some benefits in their life. So yeah, let's get into it. So if you guys see me referring to my iPad, I have notes on here because if I do not follow these notes, I will go on a rant. So I always have notes in my videos. So if you see me looking down or over, that's why. First, I want to tell you guys why and how I started journaling. So I started honestly. I've been journaling honestly my whole life since I can remember. I always had a journal, and I don't know, just write whatever. I would draw things. I actually have, I think almost all of the journals that I've had from that I had in my childhood, I still have now. And looking back, I'd often just write what was on my mind or just draw random things. But moving into my teenage years, I would just journal when I felt overwhelmed. Um, Even now, I do that, but I noticed that I always have a lot of stuff going on in my brain, in my head. I mean, as everyone does, but I think I tend to feel like overwhelmed with information, ideas, plans. Um, and so it's just good for me to like just write it down. And that's always what I've done when it comes to like journaling. So that's basically how I started journaling. But like when I started, I would say it wasn't until last year, 2023, when I religiously started journaling and started journaling to see changes or benefits in my life. Yeah, so it wasn't until last year when I started doing that. And basically, I started to do this because I wanted to keep track of where I am at mentally. If I'm writing down how I'm feeling day to day or like what's going on or just my thoughts or just anything, I'm able to look back on my journals and just kind of see where my head was at during that time. So I find that very cool and interesting. Um, Also, once I became aware of certain journaling techniques, which was around last year, beginning of last year, around that time, I started to journal to like manifest things or to again to like really just release stress and anxiety and to yeah, just like an emotional release to stop. How do I explain it? I didn't want like built up feelings of resentment, fear, anger, just anything like that being built up in my nervous system. So just like getting it out on paper, I think really helps. And there's actually science backed proof that it helps with your not only mental health but physical health as well. So that's very interesting. If you actually check out the Dr. Huberman podcast. He has a episode about like certain journaling protocols, and there's a lot of like sciencey stuff in there that he will tell you like what the benefits are and everything like that. So I highly recommend to check out his podcast if you're interested in learning about what the science related benefits of journaling are. So yeah, that's basically why and how I started journaling. On to like the journaling techniques that I use. There are a few, and I'm gonna get into them here. I'm gonna list them and then kind of just tell you guys how I do it because even though a lot of these things, well, I guess only really one, I don't know. there's probably a certain way. Maybe you heard of this technique and maybe you do it a certain way, or you've seen somebody else do it a certain way. And so I just kind of want to share what my way of doing that technique is. So the journaling techniques I use, the number one journaling technique I use is gratitude list. I do not do this every day. I know people who like, well, not personally know, but I see online like people who will make or journal gratitude lists every night or every morning. And I just find gratitude lists are very beneficial when you are feeling down, when you are feeling like things aren't going right in your life. I really recommend just writing out everything that you're grateful for because it can be easy to forget, unfortunately, what you're grateful for. I find that every time I write the list is very long, and I just remind myself of the big and little joys that I have in my life. So, yeah, literally, it is what it is, a gratitude list. I literally just write a list of things that I am grateful for, literally just a list, nothing special. And yeah, again, I just like literally every time I'm done writing a gratitude list, I genuinely feel just better about my life. I feel more fulfilled and just less down. So yeah. The next journaling technique I use is called I don't know if there's an exact name for this, but I just call it fears and resentments. And I actually coined this journaling protocol from a lady on YouTube. Her name on YouTube is the Crappy Childhood Fairy. I will leave it on the screen. If you are someone who has had a difficult upbringing, if it involves trauma, and even if it doesn't involve trauma, if you had a difficult upbringing, there are certain, how can I say this? Mm, there are certain difficulties people who have had a difficult upbringing have, just certain difficulties maybe around relationships, around maybe productivity, habits, all those things. She talks about all of that on her channel. Her target audience is people who are coming from a difficult upbringing, and yeah, she shares really insightful, impactful tips. She also shares stories of people who send in stories to her. um, but anyways, fear and resentments is a journaling practice that, just make sure my microphone is on. Fear and resentments is a journaling practice that she made, and basically all it is you're literally writing out your fears and resentments. So let's say, for example, I fear that I will fail my test tomorrow. I am resentful at my professor for assigning me a whole bunch of homework. I am resentful at my boyfriend for not taking out the trash. Just anything you feel, even the slightest bit of resentment for, write it down. Anything you feel the slightest bit of fear about, write it down. And then she says, literally do this until you cannot name any more fears or resentments. And then at the end, when you're all done writing everything down, you kind of just sign off with like a something saying like, dear God, or if you don't follow God, universe, I give you the permission to release these fears and resentments so that I can show up better in my life. And you do that every time you're done writing down the fears and resentments so that you can, it's kind of like a mind thing, just letting the universe or God know that you're giving them permission to release these things. And you rip the page out your journal and you throw it away. You can shred the piece of paper, you can rip it up, if you wrote something out on there that you don't want people to see. Yeah, you rip it up, throw it away. Honestly, every time I am done doing this practice, I feel lighter, like physically lighter. I feel less stressed, and I feel like I have more brain capacity, like truly, truly. And she recommends that you do this actually twice a day. I all of these practices I do not do every day. I interchange them depending on how I'm feeling or what's going on in my life. And I feel like that's what makes the most sense. I feel like if you feel like you shouldn't, or it doesn't fit with you to do it twice a day, then don't do it twice a day. On to the next journaling practice that I like to use. Sorry, I just keep thinking my microphone is off. But anyways, the next journaling practice that I really, really like to use is a worry tree. So a worry tree is basically like a how do you call this? Like kind of like a map in a way. I will leave a picture on the screen of what it looks like. So yeah, basically you write down your problem and then you say, is this a current problem? Is this a hypothetical problem? And is there something I can do about this? And then let's say, so you write two different columns. In the first column, you say it's a hypothetical situation and or you can't do anything about it. And then you literally just say like you let the worry go, you can't do anything about it, it's okay, everything's going to be okay. You write a different column now if it's a current problem, or if it's a problem you can do something about. You write it action, you go down to action plan. You then go down to like when what and where, where is this plan going to take place. And then you write, let's say maybe it's later or maybe it's now. So literally you just keep going down the list, and literally it just helps you figure out your worry. Because I think as humans, when we worry, we feel like it's so hard to, like, I don't know, figure out this worry, do something about it. But like, you can do something about it. Figure it out. Like, if this is a hypothetical situation, let it go. Like, literally let it go. I always have a problem with this. I always feel like, um, I don't like, oh, I'm afraid like, oh, they're gonna be mad at me, or I don't know. It's just always a if, right? A hypothetical. So yeah, y'all, anyways, I had that problem. And worry trees, I don't do them a ton, but I have done them quite a bit, and I can say they instantly make my anxiety go away from whatever I'm worrying about. Because either I can realize that I can just let it go, or I can realize that I can make an action plan. I can address it, right? So yeah, that's that. And for the last journaling practice, which is not really a practice, it's just really what I like to put in my journal. I like to make lists of goals, projects, and like big to dos. I notice when I'm like at work or at school, I have like a million things going on in my head. I'm like, oh, I gotta plan for my birthday. I gotta plan for my boyfriend's birthday, graduation. I gotta eat 4 meals at home. I have to work out 3 times a week. All of these things just going on in my head, and I feel like they're just like, I don't know, just floating up there. I don't know exactly what I'm thinking about, what I'm doing, and so I just have to write it down. Like, I don't know. It's probably just a me brain thing. Like, I don't know what's wrong with my brain. It be going. It be going. Um so yeah, I just like to make lists in my journal of like goals that I'm working on at the moment, any plans that I need to plan, right? As well as big to dos. So not the to do like do the laundry. Like, I know I gotta do the laundry. I do that every week. But like big to dos of like um I don't know, what's a big to do I gotta do? Packing for a trip or something like that, right? So yes, those are the four journaling practices that I use and that I have been using over the last 6 months. Months? That I have been using over the last 6 months, to again help manage stress, to help manage anxiety and overwhelm, and to help get me closer to my goals and manifest my manifestations, right? Now, on to what everyone is probably here in this video for, is what I have learned over the last 6 months of journaling almost every day. Let's get into it. So, the first thing that I literally learned over these last 6 months of journaling religiously is that the more that I write in my journal, the better I feel. And it's that simple. The better I feel and the more brain capacity I have. If I do not write in my journal for more than like 2 days, I begin to feel literally like my brain is cluttered. It's very weird. Like, if anybody else feels like this, please drop a comment below, because it's like almost like a brain fog thing, but it's not from sleep. It's not from, it could be from my food, but it's from not getting the information in my head out, either through talking, but I like to write because I can, be unapologetically me. I can say whatever I want, get all of my feelings out without being judged by humans. But no, I just, yeah, I genuinely feel better when I write, and when I don't write, I tend to get more agitated, more overwhelmed, more stressed. The second thing that I've learned, um honestly, once I've went back through my journals and read what I've written in there, I learned that you should always journal the good and the bad. Don't just journal just the good parts of your life. Sorry, there's a hair in my mouth. Anyways, don't just journal the good parts of your life. Don't just journal the bad parts of your life, because if you look back at your journal, which I highly recommend you should, and you only see bad things, you will probably easily forget all of the good memories that you had. It's so easy to forget all of the good memories that you had. And so when you look back and you're only writing down the stressful moments, the sad moments, you might feel a bit down about your life or a bit unsatisfied. So I highly recommend writing in your journal when you feel good as well. And again, don't discount those bad days either. I think it's good to see that we had bad days. That way we know that it's just reinforcing in us that that's the flow of life. There's good, bad, there's good, bad, there's good, bad. There's good days and there's bad days. And I think it's just important to remember that regardless of how successful you are, regardless of if you have everything you want in your life, there's still going to be bad days. Also, I would say if you read in your journal those bad day entries, you might learn that you're very resilient. You might recognize that, yeah, you're just very resilient and that you get back up. And you can also show yourself that, maybe a situation that you've went through in the past, you're able to persevere through it again because you already been through it and you conquered it, right? So I feel like, again, just remember to journal the good and the bad. And the third and last thing that I've learned is, and it's kind of tied to the last thing, it's a good tracker of your mental growth. If you're like me and you like to journal your goals and like how you're keeping up with your goals, I think it's just a very good way to track your growth and to actually prove to yourself that you have been moving forward. Because especially for me, like in the beginning of this year, I made a goal for myself to start eating at home more, cooking at least 3 times a week. And I've just been kind of writing in my journal like what I've been eating, how I felt after I cooked, and how I felt after I ate the meal and all of that. And so after this year, I'm able to go back in my journal and see that I actually achieved my goal of eating at home 3 times a week. And so I just think it's a really good way to don't lose not don't lose focus because you don't know if you're on track or if you've been on track. If you're journaling your everyday life and how you've been feeling, how you're keeping up with your goals and all of that, it's a really good way just to see where you're at. Again, if I look back in my journal from last year, 2020, beginning of 2023, I can probably read my entries and just see that I am just a whole different person mentally. Because I am no longer like, um, I don't know, I'm working on different goals. I was able to achieve my goals last year and all of that. And so, again, just a good place to show yourself that you've been doing good. Okay. But that's all I have for you guys today. Those are the main things that I've learned, the main techniques that I used. And I just wanted to share this with you guys. Honestly, partly because I realized on the internet that there's a lot of talk going around journaling and all that. And so I felt like maybe some of you guys in my audience might be interested to hear about journaling techniques and protocols, as well as what benefits I have saw from journaling. But also just because I recognize the importance of journaling as well as the benefits of journaling. And I really just want to share this with you guys and hope that you guys maybe try it out. Maybe you already are journaling, but you're not using a certain technique, and maybe you pick up one of these techniques and maybe it works for you. And so that's what I'm sharing this for, and hoping that you guys can take something from this. As always, comment down below if you have any questions, comments, or anything like that. Um, on my channel, every other week I post a regular video, and the every other, so oh my god, it's always so hard to explain. every other week I post a podcast episode, and every other week I post a YouTube episode. So once this is uploaded, the next episode will be a podcast episode. But anyways, you guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video and got something from it. Share it with your friends, your family members, if you know that they're journaling or they want to get into journaling. And yeah, come back down and come back to this video and comment down below if maybe you tried out some of these techniques and they worked. Because I'll be very happy to hear that from you. So yeah, have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in my podcast episode next week. Bye. When I say they shoot, show me room. Like my picture to come into. That's my role. You're a fool if you think that you're bull, but it's not to me like glue. Don't rock this.